It's time for Dave 101.
All right, we heard it here first that Luis Elizondo, former head of the ATIP program, the face of ufology the last 4 years, is literally about to go back into the black. And no, this isn't an AC/DC song. This is reality, as he feels his job in the public limelight is now over, or almost, for talking about UFOs to the public. Maybe not so much a bad idea, although, do we as ufology deserve good things? Look, Luis Elizondo is a polarizing person. First off, he's a spook through and through. You cannot deny that. Second off, he is talking about something that he's not allowed to talk about and gives us at times very little. Can you blame him for that? Well, people have shown their frustration. But most of all, I think we have forgotten that he is also a human with a family, children, dogs, a home, a mortgage that literally still has to run day to day, just like you and me, whether we're paying a mortgage, paying rent, paying car payments, or whatever it may be. The idea that he is stepping away, though, does make me wonder, do we in ufology deserve good things? Now, I'm not saying this to kiss Mr. Elizondo's butt, because I do think at times he has had to answer some tough questions, which he has not done. We've tried to ask those questions here. Whether we are successful enough or not is really up to you and your discretion as a listener. I think that we got a lot out of him. We personalized him, tried to bring the humanity towards what he is going through. And I think we were able to deliver on that subject and that topic. But at times, it makes me wonder whether or not we deserve good things in this field. For decades, we have banged and yelled from the top of the mountains that we wanted someone from the inside to come on out and tell us that everything is real, that there are government programs going on, that these subjects are being investigated and taken seriously. Whether or not we believe the stories or the videos or the information, well, that is up to you. But literally, think about this for a second. Did we scare off, we as ufology, our best asset? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because if Elizondo is gone for good, who's going to give us the information? Now, he says that there are others coming down the walkway that may or may not choose to go public. Sean Cahill, who is a part of Skyfort with Lou Elizondo, is the likely successor. You've heard us say that on this show for almost about a year now. But you know what? I am going to miss Lou. I'm going to miss the frustration of not being able to get him on the air. I'm going to miss the conversations that we have with our audience. I'm going to miss the fact that there's always a little bit of tension coming around when Lou comes on the air. All right? Why is there tension? Because you never know what's going to go on, whether it's in the chat room or something that he says. But now, as he wraps up his public tour and then walks off into the UFO sunset, I can't help but say he made the right decision. There's been a lot that's gone on. And whether you agree with the documentary that was made about him, whether you agree or not with the amount of podcasts he went on or the amount of news he went on, whether you agree that or not that he was talking in circles, that is for you to decipher. Personally, I got a lot out of his conversations. Dealing with athletes for as long as I did in radio, the one thing that I've always tried to do is learn how to read between the lines, figure out what they're saying. Because, look, athletes are at the epitome of media cliche. And we heard a lot of cliche out of Lou. We did. There's no turning back from that. But we also heard a number of highlights from him, as was discussed tonight. Those highlights are what we are now left to study. Those highlights of what he is telling us that UFOs are real is something that we need to look back on every single video, podcast, news article, and we have to draw what he is saying. And we have to connect the dots to see the picture that it will eventually draw out. It's going to be hard work, but there's going to be people who do that. And for years, if he steps away for good, we are going to be finding those little hidden gems. Say, yes, remember when Mr. Elizondo said that? Or did not say that? Or maybe he was right, maybe he was wrong. But the fact that I am getting at tonight is we have literally bitten our own hands in ufology and lost the best asset we have ever had. Whether you're American, Canadian like I am, from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, who are part of the Five Eyes, or from other countries like Austria, Denmark, Russia, China, Japan, wherever you are from. The one thing that we have lost is an asset to our community moving forward. Now, I'm sure behind the scenes, Elizondo will stay in touch with certain people that he trusts and that he knows will have his back. And I hope that we're one of them, because it's the information behind the scenes that we are able to get out to you in bits and pieces. If that isn't the case, if he goes full on silence with the people who he has met and learned to trust over these years, then shame on us for being a part of the community that ran him out. I don't know what we want as a community anymore with UFOs. We want a government official, we get one, and we lambaste him to the point of doxing his family, his friends, and we end up screwing that up and breaking that very beautiful shiny toy that we just got for Christmas. It's not everybody's fault. The majority of ufology out there, whether or not we agreed with Elizondo, would prefer to have him in this field than not. And look, Lou can sit there and say, well, I'm going to be doing a heck of a lot more work behind the scenes than I ever could in front of the camera. Maybe to some extent that is true. But the information and that highway that it travels on has now gone under construction. And we don't know or have a timeline of when it will be fixed. Lou is leaving, in my opinion, strictly because he has a bad taste in his mouth about the entire field. Maybe we aren't mature enough, especially with all the newcomers that have come around the last 5 years, to understand the message that he is trying to draw. Now, I am trying to say this from right down the middle. I have no ties to Lou Elizondo outside of our interviews. Do I have his phone number and email? Yes, I do. Do I talk to him privately? No, I do not. And the times I have are much less than what you would think. But I will say this. I have talked to the man personally, behind the scenes, and I find that he is a very frank and good person for a spook. Don't think for a second that his modus operandi is to get the information and see what can and cannot be released by that. He plays a double-edged sword. Imagine having to live on both sides of the sword each and every day. that is very stressful. That is something that the majority of us will never experience. He would love to share the information, but law and duty says he can't. So what's more to come out? Well, everything we have said on this show for the last couple of years is pretty much what Elizondo led to right here tonight. And that is this: humanity is not ready for disclosure. That many, if not the majority, are scared about the topic coming out because we do not know how people are going to react. We have said it numerous times on this show. It'll affect the economy. It'll affect religion. It will affect every single 7.8 million of us on this planet one way or another. And this is what we have to go by. This is what we have to learn. Are we ready for it? We weren't ready for a national or international disease like COVID. How can we be any better off with aliens? So as Luis Elizondo starts to head off into the sunset, we have to wonder, do we deserve another voice? Do we deserve Sean Cahill or someone else to take over the torch and run with the UFO world? To be our beacon of information? I don't know if we are. I feel sorry for the next person coming in, whether it is Cahill, who I will admit is now a friend of mine. Or do we continue on and wonder where the secrets are hiding? Because this is so much more than just Area 51, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Dugway, or Dulce in New Mexico. This is all hidden in the Pentagon. And we need to know what is there. We deserve to know what is there. But if we keep breaking our toys like we did with Elizondo, we are going to continue to lose out. Ufology will never move forward until we bite our tongues and start to look at the bigger picture rather than the control of the smaller black and white TV that we are used to. And that is your Dave 101.